Sarah appeared especially eager to dismiss the growing theory that Gary could be Theo's killer. Fans of Coronation Street are now convinced they've uncovered the real reason Gary Windass gave police a false story about the night Theo Silverton was murdered, and many believe Sarah Platt may be at the center of it. Gary has quickly become one of the leading suspects in the investigation, particularly after a photograph surfaced that seemed to completely destroy his original alibi. But while detectives continue digging into Gary's movements that evening, viewers are convinced an entirely different secret is being hidden. There are still countless mysteries surrounding the events of the night Theo Silverton lost his life, and Weatherfield police are beginning to realize that several people may not be telling the full truth. So far, viewers know that Sarah returned home from Carla and Lisa's wedding in a heavily intoxicated state after drinking far too much. However, the evening soon took a frightening turn when she walked into what looked like a burglary and was violently attacked by Jody Ramsey, who struck her on the head. David and Shona later discovered Sarah lying unconscious on the floor before she was rushed to hospital for urgent treatment. At the same time, Gary told detectives he had been at the builder's yard during the exact time Theo was killed. Maria supported his story as well, claiming the pair had spent the night together there. She also admitted that she had asked Gary to erase the CCTV footage to avoid public embarrassment. But a photograph taken by Tim that same night appeared to tell a completely different story. The image seemed to place Gary near the scaffolding at the very time he claimed he was elsewhere. That leaves only two possible explanations. Either Gary lied because he was responsible for Theo's death, or he was covering up something entirely different. Coronation Street viewers predict shocking affair twist involving Gary and Sarah. Fans now believe they've uncovered what Gary and Sarah might really be hiding, with a new theory suggesting the former couple secretly spent the night together on the evening of the murder. Sharing the idea online, one viewer wrote, "Sarah and Gary. I'm convinced they slept together on the night Theo died. I've been catching up on this week's episodes, and both of them seem incredibly nervous and definitely like they're hiding something. But I don't believe either of them actually killed Theo, because that would feel far too obvious. Sarah hasn't even been named as a suspect, and they seem to be pushing Gary as the obvious choice far too early, which usually means he's innocent. So my guess is they had an affair before Sarah went back to the Platt house and got attacked. And Sarah also seemed far too interested in Gary when she was questioning Kit about the police interview. It felt like she was trying to figure out whether she'd need to confess to the affair in order to provide him with an alibi and stop him being arrested for murder. Whether this theory turns out to be true or not, viewers remain convinced that former lovers Gary and Sarah are both hiding something major about Theo's final hours. The real question is, are they keeping a secret that could clear Gary's name, or one powerful enough to ruin both of their lives forever? Coronation Street's Summer to plan escape amid Theo murder suspicions. Summer Spellman faces the most terrifying chapter of her life in next week's Coronation Street, as suspicion over Theo Silverton's murder pushes her to breaking point. Shocking accusations begin tearing apart her closest relationships, and before long, Summer finds herself sitting in a police station being questioned over one of Weatherfield's most shocking crimes. As tension rises among Todd Grimshaw's loved ones, George Shuttleworth becomes increasingly convinced that Summer could be hiding something deadly. Disturbing memories from the night Theo died begin flooding back to him, and as his doubts grow stronger, fresh evidence starts painting Summer in an even darker light, as someone filled with anger, heartbreak, and a possible desire for revenge. At the same time, Summer is handed an unexpected opportunity to return to the United States and continue her university studies. But with a murder investigation closing in around her, she quickly realizes that leaving now could make her appear even more guilty. Faced with overwhelming pressure, Summer begins questioning whether proving her innocence is even possible. Actress Harriet Bibby revealed that Summer is struggling to think clearly as the walls begin closing in. According to Harriet, Summer feels trapped, terrified, and starts believing that running away may be her only escape from the chaos surrounding her. Things become even worse when George discovers Summer's private journal, containing a disturbing passage describing her pointing a gun at Theo. Soon after, Kit notices a crucial detail hidden in the background of Lisa's wedding photograph, evidence that appears to place Summer at the scene of the murder. Despite Todd desperately trying to defend her, Summer's world begins collapsing as accusations spread across the street. With her bag secretly packed and America on her mind, one question remains. Is Summer an innocent young woman caught in a nightmare, or could Theo's killer have been hiding in plain sight all along? Coronation Street's Todd makes tense accusation in Theo death mystery. Todd Grimshaw's emotional breakdown continued in tonight's Coronation Street, as his grief, rage, and growing paranoia over Theo Silverton's death pushed him even closer to the edge. The investigation into Theo's murder remained at the center of the drama, with DS Lisa Swain and DC Kit Green becoming increasingly convinced that Gary Windass could be involved in the killing. Maria Connor attempted to protect Gary by providing him with an alibi for the time Theo was murdered, but a seemingly harmless selfie accidentally taken by Sally Metcalf appeared to completely destroy his story by placing him directly near the crime scene. Gary is far from the only person under suspicion, however, as George Shuttleworth, Christina Boyd, Danielle Silverton, Summer Spellman, and Theo's former partner Todd have all found themselves caught in the investigation. Since Theo's death, Todd has become increasingly unstable as he struggles with grief while also dealing with the emotional scars left by Theo's abuse. His paranoia has reached dangerous levels, with Todd openly accusing those closest to him of murder. He even arranged a tense meeting with Gary to confront him directly, a moment that did not go unnoticed by Kit. Tonight's episode opened with Lisa and Kit comparing their latest theories, as Lisa mocked Gary's questionable alibi by joking that it looked as dodgy as Kit's aftershave. Lisa then questioned Kit about Sarah Platt, knowing she has a close connection to Todd and wondering whether he may have confided something important that could point them toward Theo's killer. Later, Todd arrived at the Rovers alongside Christina, looking visibly shaken and far from his usual self. Not long after, Lisa and Kit also entered for what was supposed to be a quiet drink, before asking Todd to remain patient while they continued narrowing down their suspects. Already emotionally overwhelmed, Todd struggled to keep his composure, but initially chose to sit quietly with his pint. However, after overhearing Lisa and Kit discussing the investigation nearby, his anger finally boiled over, and he made a shocking accusation. "If you lot had kept him locked up, none of this would have happened," Todd snapped at Lisa, leaving everyone around him stunned as they urged him to calm down. Those nearby quickly pointed out that Todd had clearly been drinking too much, and several people suggested it might be best for him to leave before things escalated further. But Todd refused to back down. As his grief continues to consume him, the question now remains: how much further will Todd spiral, and could his increasingly erratic behavior be hiding secrets viewers have yet to discover? ITV's ITVX continues airing Coronation Street on weekday evenings.